Hello, welcome. My name is William Sabule. This is Tap TV's newspaper review, and I'm really happy to have you join me here this very beautiful day. Well, if this is the first time you're seeing this video, you're in the right place. This is where we bring you the headlines across newspapers around Nigeria, and we get to discuss some of these headlines that we read out here on the program. You're welcome to join us. By doing that, you need to first subscribe to the channel by clicking the subscribe button. Don't forget to also click on the notification key. That will help you to get notified whenever we come online. And then, of course, we're also on other social media handles, so do well to follow us on all these other platforms. We're on Facebook as Tap TV, on Instagram it's Tap TV _NG, and on Twitter it's at Tap TV. So follow us on all of these platforms so you can get to like and also share our videos. Let's go and take the headlines this morning. Thank you for joining us.
Have you registered for your permanent voter's card? I mean, your PVC. There is a Nigeria we all seek, a place where love, peace, security, and unity can reign supreme.
Waste no time. We want a country where peace and justice will be the order of the day.
Unfortunately, there's a problem. One big challenge this generation has to solve.
Our country cries for help every day. We need able and capable hands to lead and direct.
These capable hands can be you. Have you gotten your PVC? Have you registered for the ongoing voting process? Don't say your vote does not count. Yes, it does.
Have you gotten your PVC? Your apathy towards Nigeria's electioneering process will further inhibit our collective growth and development as a nation. Your refusal to participate and engage will keep us at a standstill. So be intentional.
I have my PVC. Your votes, your voice would go a long way in preventing absolute destruction of this country and the future of our children, the hope of tomorrow.
The 2023 Nigerian elections are just around the corner. Go out and get heard. Don't forget, your vote, your voice. This message is proudly brought to you by Thav Media Limited.
Thank you for staying with us. Let's begin the headlines from the This Day newspaper. And on the This Day newspaper here, the headliner here says, APC moves to retain Buni as interim chairman, Bello as acting chair. John Akpanu Doede's fate uncertain. Group alleges fresh plot to sack Yobe governor through court injunction. Party moves to have court injunction stopping convention vacated. All right, that's the big headliner here on This Day newspaper. Other headlines on This Day newspaper here, we see Genco's nation in darkness because we are owed 1.6 trillion naira since 2013. All right, so and then other headlines also here on This Day newspaper, we see Osibanjo, Buhari and I have not had any religious dispute in 7 years. Wants religion to be used for unity, improvement of people's lives. And lastly, I'll take this one still on This Day newspaper. It says APC crisis stalls defection suit against Stambowal or Tom or Baseke. All right, we move to other headlines here. Next, we'll go to Vanguard newspaper, yeah? And on Vanguard newspaper, we see 1 trillion naira inflow set to escalate excess cash in banks. 1 trillion naira inflow set to escalate excess cash in banks. Interest rates decline will persist. Interest rates decline will persist. Dealers. And all of that story is on page 19 of the Vanguard newspaper. And at the top part of that Vanguard newspaper, we see APC blast Wike over utterances against Umahi, launches onslaught against 3 PDP governors. That story is on page 13 and 29 of the Vanguard newspaper. And then at the side of that same headline, we see energy crisis. Gencos blame 1.64 trillion naira debt for low power supply. Okay, other headlines here on the Vanguard newspaper, we see here scarcity. Why we give priority to foreign airlines, aviation fuel marketers. And that story is on page 11 of the Vanguard newspaper. So do well to pick up a copy of the Vanguard newspaper. That's where you find details of that story. And then we also see at the down part or the bottom part of the Vanguard newspaper there, we see APC crisis. Buhari says Buni to conduct national convention. National chairmanship race thrown open. It's on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. Next, we go to the Daily Sun newspaper. And on the Daily Sun newspaper, we see at the top part, let's begin at the top part there, says Kanu will be freed April 8th. Kanu will be freed April 8th. IPOP. That story is on page 28 of the Daily Sun newspaper. And we also see there, under that same headline, say, urges Southern leaders to stop begging for his release. All right, we'll move on. Other headlines here on the Daily Sun newspaper, we see Enugu 2023. Ekweremadu Nwodo disagree over zoning. That story is on page 28 of the Daily Sun newspaper. And the big headline here on the Daily Sun newspaper here, we say bad fuel. Buhari approves sanctions against culprits. Such must not repeat itself, presidency warns. Okay, we'll move on. Other stories here on the Daily Sun, we see new twist in APC over convention. Buni still to lead party. Previous zoning arrangements for chairman, presidency may collapse. Court commences contempt proceedings against party March 30th. Legacy parties, chieftains in do or die battle. All of that stories is on page 6 and 27 of the Daily Sun newspaper, so do well to pick up a copy. Next, we take on the New Telegraph newspaper, and on the New Telegraph newspaper, there's this very interesting headline here. It says, poor salaries, welfare, outdated weapons, police to embark on 2-week warning strike, March 26. Maybe you didn't hear that well again. Let me take it again. It says, poor salaries, welfare, outdated weapons, police to embark on 2-week warning strike, March 26, says federal government hasn't increased salaries. And that story is on page 3 of the New Telegraph newspaper. Okay, I go to other headlines on the New Telegraph newspaper here. It says 2,119 mining firms owe government 2.76 billion naira. All right? 2,119 mining firms owe government 2.76 billion naira. And then the other stories here, we see here, Gencos blame blackouts on fundamental power sector challenges. Then just beside that one too, we see, I didn't exonerate Kyari, I only asked for further probe, Malami. And all of that stories you find on the New Telegraph newspaper. So do well to pick a copy of that paper. Let's move on to other headlines. All right, moving on, we go to the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. And the big headliner here says, as diesel hits 720 naira, that's Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, cries to federal government how federal government plans to reverse fuel scarcity. All right, so you find those two stories on page 6 and 2 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. And at the top part of that paper, we see, top part of the Nigerian Tribune that is, we see why federal government must prevent another indefinite ASU strike. Why federal government must prevent another indefinite ASU strike. Stakeholders, and that story is on page 25 of the Nigerian Tribune. And then we go to the down part of that paper. We see APC, CECPC. Odds favor Buni. Odds favor Buni. Why APC is rethinking opposition to his leadership. APC governors regrouping behind him. Let us take heed to Buhari's admonition. Mustafa. My plans for women, youth, Sani, Musa. That story is on page 2, 4, and 5 of the Nigerian Tribune. And then we also see this very interesting story here. It says, NDLEA arrests General Overseer with drugs at Lagos Airport. Seizes 40 parcels of cocaine, orders at Apapa Port. All right, so do well to pick up a copy of the Nigerian Tribune. That's where we find all of the stories you just heard now. Next, we go to the Nation's newspaper. And on the Nation's newspaper, we see APC chair. Pressure mounts on Buhari to drop Adamu. APC chair. Pressure mounts on Buhari to drop Adamu. El Rufai Masari off to London on consultation mission. Buni returns Wednesday with nod to take charge. Okay, that story is the big story here on the Nation newspaper, and we'll go to the top part of that same paper. We see INEC should not meddle in party affairs, says Olawekbo Hashim. And then we also see this one. It says PDP does not belong to Wike, says Obaseke. PDP does not belong to Wike, says Obaseke. That story is on page 7 of the Nation's newspaper. Other stories here is at the bottom part here. We see man laments 720 naira per liter diesel price as aviation fuel hits 600 naira per liter. All right. Next, we go to the Punch newspaper. And on the Punch newspaper here, we see the big headline here. It says, Buni may head APC convention. Buni may head APC convention, I beg your pardon. Uncertainty surrounds zoning. Buni may head APC convention. Uncertainty surrounds zoning. And that's on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Under that same headline, we see President asked Yobe governor to lead party to national summit. Source: Adamu may lose out as party throws open chairman seat tussle. As party throws open chairman seat tussle. Osibanjo to meet state chairman ahead of presidential bid declaration. Osibanjo to meet state chairman ahead of presidential bid declaration. All the stories here on the Punch newspaper. At the top part, we see Gencos disagree with TCN over outages, blame weak transmission. That story is on page 25 of the Punch newspaper. Okay, and then we also see, just under that, we see talks with Labour on fuel subsidy removal ongoing. Federal government. Talks with Labour on fuel subsidy removal ongoing. Federal government. All right, NDLA traces 4.2 billion naira to Abakari co-accused accounts. Okay, I'll take that again. Say NDLA traces 4.2 billion naira to Abakari co-accused accounts. Okay, all right, so we move on to other headliners here. We also see, still on the Punch newspaper, we see at the bottom part there, we see General Overseer heading for Kenyan crusade arrested with cannabis in Lagos. All right, we go to the Daily Trust newspaper here, and the big headliner says, Osibanjo notifies Buhari of presidential ambition. Osibanjo notifies Buhari of presidential ambition. Why VP shelved today's meeting with APC state chairman. Tinubu's ambition, RCCG's memo put Osibanjo in tight corner. President not averse to VP's ambition. All right, so you go to page 5 of the Daily Trust newspaper. That's where you find all of that stories. And at the top part of Daily Trust newspaper, we see Buni to preside over APC convention as big wigs move to vacate court order. All right, and at the bottom part of the Daily Trust newspaper, we see popular pastor arrested concealing illicit drug at Lagos airport. Well, that's all the paper we'll be taking this morning. Next is our discussion segment where we get to analyze the headlines we've read out to you this morning. Stay with us. We'll be right back. But before I go, don't forget to also join the conversation by dropping your comments and your reactions on the comment section. And do well to follow us also on all our social media handles. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you're just seeing this video for the first time. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Have you registered for your permanent voter's card? I mean, your PVC. There is a Nigeria we all seek, a place where love, peace, security, and unity can reign supreme.
Waste no time. We want a country where peace and justice will be the order of the day.
Unfortunately, there's a problem. one big challenge this generation has to solve.
Our country cries for help every day. We need able and capable hands to lead and direct.
These capable hands can be you. Have you gotten your PVC? Have you registered for the ongoing voting process? Don't say your vote does not count. Yes, it does.
Have you gotten your PVC? Your apathy towards Nigeria's electioneering process will further inhibit our collective growth and development as a nation. Your refusal to participate and engage will keep us at a standstill. So be intentional.
I have my PVC. Your votes, your voice would go a long way in preventing absolute destruction of this country and the future of our children, the hope of tomorrow.
The 2023 Nigerian elections are just around the corner. Go out and get heard. Don't forget, your vote, your voice. This message is proudly brought to you by Thav Media Limited.
Thank you very much for staying with us up to this time. I'm now joined by Mr. Victor Sioku for this discussion segment. Thank you very much for joining us today. All right, let's begin our conversation with this very intriguing headline that I find on New Telegraph newspaper, and that headline's about police. Police say they want to go on strike for 2 weeks beginning on March 26. What's your reaction to that?
I think that would be too much for the people and the government of Nigeria to handle. Because we are facing a whole lot of challenges right now. We are still battling energy crisis, which includes fuel scarcity, diesel scarcity, and power, energy. Our national grid has gone below 1,000.
Yes.
In a country that we are pushing forth for 10,000, we are at 5,000 megawatts, and we were pushing for 10,000. All of a sudden, everything is creeping down. The Gencos, the transmission companies, everybody, they are crying that the loans they collect. Nigeria is in big problem. We're talking about food shortage. There will be food crisis very soon. It's already brewing, and it's going to another level. Now, the police wants to go on their own strike.
Yeah.
I understand the fact, all these, they are all pointing to the economic state of the country. People are suffering. The standard of living is depreciating. Cost of commodities rising. How do these people survive? Okay, they were promises, they made promises to them, as in the government, after the NSAS that they were against, and the NSAS was just to promote better welfare for the police. Yeah. The government came out to say, okay, we are improving on your salaries. We are giving you guys 20% increment on your salaries. Can you believe December of 2021, the government came and said, okay, we've implemented, go home, you start receiving your money. From then till now, the police force have not received a dime.
Yes, nothing has happened.
Yes, so they want to go on strike. On strike March 26th, and remember March 26th is a very symbolic and unique date for Nigeria, because APC will be having their convention. No matter how we see it, it's a ruling party.
They will require security, and all of that.
Yes.
So I think the police putting that date as the day they will begin their strike is very significant. It was deliberate to send a message to the government, and I don't blame them for what's happening. Where I fault them is that, when the youth rose up against the government to help the police to get better welfare, I don't know, they allowed the government to use them against these youths. And, we all know the story of NSAS and how it ended. If they had known that was their chance and the opportunity, to change certain things that they don't agree upon. And unfortunately, they couldn't do that. They couldn't achieve that. And here they are saying they want to go on strike. For me, if they go on that strike, they are putting their lives at risk too. I mean, imagine a policeman down into saying, okay, let me keep guns. I don't want to work again.
Yes.
I want to go home, and stay for 2 weeks. I don't want to work. You're putting your own life at risk. So I want to believe that they will not go on strike. But yet, the agitation for them to go on strike is a clear message to the government that they need to improve their welfare. And I think, yes, I mean, look at the way the country is. I mean, the police is one arm of the government that is fighting hard to keep the peace of this country. If not, all hell would have been let loose.
Just imagine a situation whereby our police stations, you have no police officer there.
Yeah.
What happens to the inmates or the
locked
suspects
yes.
in their cells?
Yeah.
What about in a situation in Anambra and in Imo State, Abia State, where these guys, the bad guys, want to break down police stations? Remember last year it was rampant.
Yeah.
So this is more like if it happens,
even if it happens for 24 hours,
my brother,
it's not going to be a good one. So the federal government better intervene on time. You know, still on this matter of police going on strike. On the headlines this morning, we saw a popular general overseer of the church, trying to smuggle drugs out of the country. I mean, it's funny and very unfortunate too, I must say. And just imagine that the police and some of the security agencies are on strike. How would they have come about this one? What's your reaction to that one?
Well, to me, it's not new that a pastor can do such acts. It's no longer new. We are seeing what's happening on social media. Pastors nowadays, you just, when you see a pastor on social media, you just be wondering, is this really a man of God?
The way they flaunt their
wealth,
the way they do things. I mean, it's so different.
Oh, it's really disturbing, my brother. Okay, come to the detailing. They asked the man, okay, he's actually the GO, the general overseer. You know, that's
Daddy GO.
Daddy GO. That's the name they like calling themselves.
Daddy
so
GO.
Daddy GO, Mr. Ekwem Ugochukwu,
Yeah.
Emmanuel. Okay, he took the trip to.
He wants to
go to Kenya. Okay, via Ethiopia.
Yeah.
He wrapped the cannabis, 54 sticks of cannabis around his body. And they asked him, what are you going to do with these 54 sticks of cannabis? He said that he's going for ministration that will last 2 weeks. So the 54 cannabis that he will use it
Oh my goodness.
to hold himself throughout the 2 weeks. And I wonder, my brother.
Well, it's not legal in our country. As far as we know, he has broken the law and he will pay for it. All right, moving on, let's go to APC. They are still on the news. They will never leave the news until they get things right and until they get their house together. And they are back on the news again. The same leadership tussle is on. Buni has gotten a nod from the presidency, as the news puts it. And the internal rumbles as to why Buni shouldn't, head the convention. And of course, from other headlines, we also see that the convention may not hold on the planned date. What's your reaction to all of this?
Okay, INEC wrote to APC that their planned NEC meeting that is supposed to hold this week, that they should be careful. More like, they stated it to them that if you want to hold a NEC meeting, the chairman of the party, whether interim or not interim, there should be head of the party should be able to sign to the letter.
Which wasn't done.
Which wasn't done. It was Bello that signed it. They were like, no.
We don't recognize this.
We don't recognize this, please. And I love what INEC did, because INEC was like, they had to make it plain for them. See, if you don't do this, we don't want to allow you guys to just make this mistake. If you don't do this, the repercussions will be there waiting for you. So that was why the presidency had to transmit the information to Buni to say, please come and continue to head the party at least till March 26th, so that there will not be plenty litigations. Already they have 208 litigations, and they also need to vacate the court injunction that he concealed. Buni concealed a particular court injunction that was to stop them from having the convention March 26th. That was the big fight. Why would you conceal this? That means you have a hidden agenda. That means you want to extend this date. Okay? So now going a little back, remember Akero Dolu? Governor Akero Dolu was mentioning about, was pointing out, he pointed out the Yahoo governors.
Yeah.
That they were the ones backing Buni.
Yes.
And they are just a minority with the numbers we heard. 19 were against Buni. Then about four were the so-called Yahoo governors. Now, I'm thinking, if they don't handle the Yahoo in quote governors, mind you, they are the ones leading the go. Because if you say it's a match between the 19 governors and the Yahoo, they are leading by 1-0 because they are the ones that had to bring back Buni to his seat.
Yeah.
So if they don't come together as one and repair their, the damages that have been caused so far, this fight, there will be more destruction, my brother.
Yeah.
So they need to calm down.
I know
they have, politicians with their different ideologies, different desires.
Yeah. Time is not on their side. Time is not on their side.
Most of the time, selfish interests. So they should come together, my brother, or the party will be in shambles.
And then, still in politics, Governor Wike over the weekend was responding or speaking to the governor of the Buni state, and he says PDP does not belong to Wike, says Obaseki. Obaseki was responding to Governor Wike because of the way he talks. I said the party belongs to him. What's your reaction?
Well, we know River State Governor Wike is a very vocal man.
Yes.
He does not hide his feelings. He does not care. I don't care. So, so when Philip Shaibu, the deputy governor of Edo State, he came out to say that for the past almost 2 years that they joined the party, they were in the APC. Edo State was for APC. Not until just before the election, their own election, that there were issues of power tussles. They
brought in
it was really Obaseki versus Oshomole, I remember now. So they now joined PDP. So they are complaining that the new PDP, that's them, the persons that moved to PDP, which they are still new, that the party hasn't really recognized them. Even as they are the head of affairs of the state, they are governors, that the party is not really bringing them closer. They are just politicking on their own. As in the head, I mean the state chairman is not working in hand with the government. Even down to the South leader. The South leader of PDP is from Edo. So he was calling that, see, if this doesn't get solved, we'll leave this party. And Wike got the information and went off. Wike was like, look at this young man that was begging to join the PDP.
To be saved.
He's not threatening to leave the party. And he now asked one question that is shaking everywhere. He asked Philip Shaibu, who is your father? Hi! Omo. That is what is trending now. Who is your father? So, but Wike should also understand that this is it should be a respected seat. The office of the deputy governor, it's a valuable, and he has his point, and he made his point. So he should also allow people to make their point. Okay, Obaseki on his own, Governor Obaseki on his own was like, you cannot come to Edo State to cause havoc, which you caused. It's an allegation as far as I'm concerned, which you caused in Cross River State. Remember, there was big turmoil in Cross River State that made Governor Ayade to leave the PDP and switch to APC. So I just pray, in as much as they are saying that he is doing all these things because of his presidential ambition, but I'm also, begging the governor to take it easy. Okay? We need a formidable party. We want APC to be formidable. We want PDP to be formidable. Every party that wants to come out for 2023, come out and vie for your positions.
Also, you remember that in one of the headlines, we see that the vice president of the country has started making moves to declare formally for his presidential bid. And course, that is also some of the things that will go down during the APC convention. He's already started the move. What's your reaction to that?
The rumors are,
Yeah.
it's going to another level.
Yes, and then
last week we got the information that the RCCG, the Redeemed Christian Church of God, they opened or they inaugurated a particular group or a body called an office called Directorate of Politics and Governance, and they asked them, why would you, the vice president is a pastor in Redeemed. So they now asked, why at this time will you be introducing such an office? They were like, they want to mobilize people for any political aspirant coming from the church. Yeah. They want to mobilize their members to support the person. But over the weekend, there was this rumor that the VP wanted to see all APC state chairmen in Abuja. But somehow, he did not tell them from the report we got, he did not inform them in hand that he wants to use the platform to voice out his ambition. But all of a sudden, they got the information and somehow the meeting was cut off.
Yeah.
Mind you, Tinubu is still a strong man in APC.
Very much so.
And Osibanjo, in quote, which one will I use that will go easy? Okay, in quote, is more like a
son in politics.
A son in politics to Tinubu because of Tinubu was the one that made him a commissioner, and in quotes, he had the upper say to move him to the post of vice president. So they are like saying, why would a child fight his father? But this is politics.
But it's not in their hands.
This is
if
politics.
he declares and he gets the ticket from the APC, Nigerians are going to make their decision. It's not in anybody's hands. And from the statistics, it seemed to me as if Osibanjo has a better chance than Tinubu, even though Tinubu is the Jagaban in politics.
Why do you think so?
Because Osibanjo has been in this government, and the few chance that he has been given a chance to, to show his stuff, he has been able to make a difference. He has been able to run the government in a way that we all felt the impact. We felt that, it could be better if they give him more time, but that's not the case right now. But I'm not forgetting the fact that Tinubu, on the other hand, is quite a force to contend with in politics. He's a force. He's the voice in the West. He's the man. He's the lion from the West. So all of that is what Osibanjo will have to contend with if he chooses to declare and go ahead to run for the 2023 presidential position. Well, that's all we'll be taking this morning. Thank you so much for staying up to this time, and thank you, Mr. Victor, for always coming through.
Thank you.
Till next time, we'll come your way again. My name is William Sabule, and this has been the Newspaper Review. Thank you for staying with us.